Hey, what's going on, everyone out there? This is Nick with Mammoth Training Solutions. I'm also the owner of Mammoth Distributing, and just wanted to come on here today. First of all, couldn't get on here this morning because I'm traveling. I'm out in the on the West Coast, and so I wanted to jump on this evening. And this evening, I'm going to talk about 3 ways to handle objections. Now, before I get into that, I will tell you, if you're doing your sales process correctly, if you've got a great sales process and it's dialed and you're asking the right questions, your objections are going to be much more limited. Okay. You're not going to have near as many objections as if you're going up, you do the show up and throw up kind of thing that a lot of salespeople do. And quite honestly, it's a turnoff to a lot of people, and you waste a bunch of time doing that. So I highly recommend, if you don't have a sales process, you get a sales process, because that's the best way you're going to get through your day with some successes, both for you and your client, without having a bunch of rejection and a bunch of, objections and all of that stuff. Okay. That's what makes sales hard, and it gives it a bad name, quite frankly. So, but if you do run into objections, there's typically 3 ways that you can handle those objections. Again, without pressure. We don't want to pressure the client. Okay. Anytime the prospect or the salesperson feels pressure, okay, it stalls the process. It mitigates, it basically destroys your sales, because as soon as either person feels pressure, they start acting outside of their normal communication style. Okay. When we get under pressure, if you're not, especially if you're not trained, like prospects typically aren't very well trained, right? Sometimes they are if you're B2B, but if you're selling cars to consumers, that person's not expecting you to be pushy. So as soon as they feel pressure, they start to change their behavior. They start to hide from you, lie to you, do all kinds of things. Oh, I'm just looking here today, right? I'm on the car lot, but I'm just looking. I don't know about you, but I don't know too many people that go to a car lot just to look at cars. Most of them, if they're on your car lot, they are looking to buy. So, but when they feel pressure, they feel the need to do that kind of stuff. So I recommend, look, no pressure. Take the pressure off your salesperson. Take the pressure off your prospect. Okay. And always ask permission to give more information. And this is something that really actually literally changed my life in sales a long time ago, when I learned to just ask permission to even give information. Like, what if the person doesn't even really want information? I've been out on car lots, and yeah, I was looking to buy, but I didn't really want to talk to anybody. So when somebody came up, I said, you know what, I'm not ready to talk to somebody. Give me an hour or so, and then I'll get back with you. That's an honest answer. So we need to be able to do the same thing for our prospects, right? Ask permission. Hey, I've got some information. Do you mind if I share it with you? Okay. That takes the pressure off. Like, they can say no. That's another thing. A rule of sales: no is okay in my book. Like, I'd rather get to the no from a person who's giving me an honest answer. I'd rather get to that no than to sit there and meddle with a bunch of prospects, or a prospect that's not really qualified, doesn't want my product, doesn't need my product, or just isn't that interested in talking to me. Let's face it, folks, not everybody's going to be your cup of tea, and you're not going to be everybody else's cup of tea. So get over yourselves. Okay. So first thing, handling objections. So I believe it was Zig Ziglar. I'm not sure who coined this, but I learned it along the way. And that's the feel, felt, found. Okay. I understand how you feel, sir. I've had other people that have felt that way. Or if you honestly have felt that way yourself, hey, I understand how you feel, sir. I felt that way before as well. But do you know what we found? Or can I share with you what we found? All right. I always ask permission. Can I share with you what we found? Instead of just going, but we found that blah, 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 blah. Because if somebody's objecting to you, they don't really care about your stats. Okay. They just don't care. If they're objecting to you, that means you have lost their concept. You've lost their attention. The value in their mind has not exceeded the price. Therefore, they don't want to buy for whatever reason. Okay. So I understand how you feel. I felt the very same way before, or I know people who have felt the same way before. Do you mind if I share with you what we found? And then give them education on, the solution, whatever they're objecting to. Okay. So that's one way. Another way is always agree. So agree However, now, do you mind if I share with you some information that we found about this product or service? Okay, so agree, however, and then ask permission to educate the customer. All right. And that really, I mean, both of these first two techniques gets them further into a conversation. And that's really what you're trying to do. Let's get these folks into a longer conversation and see if we can help them self-discover either the need to work with our product or work with us, or B, maybe we figure out that our solution is not really a good solution for that prospect, and we do us both a favor, shake hands, part friends, and understand if I set that person onto a different path with a better solution, they're going to like me for it. They're probably going to return, or they could go ahead and refer me or refer somebody else to me because I was honest with them. Okay, so I hope those two help. The final one, sorry guys, I just got off the road, so I'm literally coughing and hacking, so I apologize. So, the final way to handle objections is what you call isolating the objection. So, if a person talks about the objection being money, okay, we have to understand that. Hey, I totally understand what you're saying. Always agree. That's the number one rule of sales. If you don't know that, always agree is the number one rule. Okay, number one rule. I don't care what situation you're in. If it's a sales prospect, if it's a angry customer on the phone, if it's an angry customer in front of you, always agree. In other words, be agreeable. It's going to help you a lot in your communications. Okay, so that's the number one thing. Always agree. Hey, I totally get it. I know where you're coming from, sir. Let me ask you, if there were anything else, that would come up that would keep you from wanting to do this, or that would make this not the fit, what would they be? And start to get more objections out, right? Instead of like trying to push back against an objection, you want to actually do the opposite. Ask them for more information. Hey, is there anything else that you don't like about the product? Anything else that doesn't work? And they may say, oh, it's too expensive. Yeah, I get it. I totally understand. It's not really the right color. It's not the right fit, whatever it is. But many times, if that is the objection, that is truly the objection, they will tell you, no, that's all. Like if that was fixed, there would be no problems, right? And so if that's the case and we isolate that, now all I have to do is overcome that problem, whatever it is. And it sounds like that would be a fit for the customer. So, and I like to say, hey, is there anything besides blank that's going on that makes this not the right fit for you? The color, whatever it is. And if they say, no, everything else is good, then you have to follow it up. You've got to validate that answer with a validation, right? Which is a statement, which is, hey, so in other words, what you're telling me is if I can solve that problem, you'd be ready to do business with me today. Fair? And if they've answered honestly, then the only thing they can really say is, yeah, we'd go forward if that was handled, if that one thing was handled. Okay, so these are basically the three techniques that I like to use and that I like to teach. Now, again, if you're asking permission properly, you're really going to have a lot less objections per se in your prospecting, okay? Because you're actually getting the customer, the prospect, to give you real information right off the bat, rather than, get into this dance where, we try to sell something, then the prospect, hides from us, then they evade, then they tell us, they tell us things that aren't really true, right? They actually lie to us, not because they're bad people, but just because they don't understand, they don't know how to get out of the situation because you've put them in a situation that they feel pressure in. So, I keep using that word pressure. The less pressure, I got a sales trainer that says, hey, look, pressure makes diamonds. Okay, that's great, but it takes a lot of force. And honestly, it's a lot of effort that you really just don't have to spend. Okay, if you get dialed in with a solid sales process, you're not going to have near as many objections. And honestly, you're going to sell more because it's going to be the right product for the right person. And to be honest, it's going to take you a heck of a lot less effort because you're doing it right from the start. My sales process is mammoth. I'll just share it with you. You can see it on my website as well. MammothTrainingsolutions.com is our website. But my sales process is mammoth. Okay. Maximize rapport, align and agree with the customer, mind for pain means dig deep, find the pain, money and time, right? What's their budget? How much time do they have to spend on this? How much money do they have to invest in this solution? Okay. Outline decision roles, right? I had a prospecting meeting today, and this guy, it's actually a presentation meeting, but this guy, he knows me, and I hadn't seen him in about 3 years. And he knew right where I was at in my process because he's worked with me so much. The next, he goes, you don't even have to ask. I already know what you're going to ask. I am the only decision maker. And then I still qualified it, even though I knew the guy. So what you're telling me is that when it comes down to signing, there's nobody else involved. It's only you. Fair? And he's like, man, come on, you know me. I said, okay. But still, even though I know the person, I never neglect the process. It's one thing I want you all to know. Just because you know somebody doesn't mean that you have the right or should shortcut your process. Okay? Don't ever shortcut the process. Always follow the process. Excuse me. This is just water, by the way. Always follow your process. Okay? Never take for granted the fact that you know somebody and that they want to do business with you. Okay? So anyways, I hope that helps. I can't see anybody who's on here because I use Restream. And so I'm streaming through Restream to LinkedIn Live. I hope you enjoyed this LinkedIn Live. I'm going to go live every day, and my goal is to do it at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That's what I'm trying to do, but I am traveling for the next couple weeks, so it might be a couple different times. But you guys will see. I'll put the event out in the morning, well before 10, and we'll jump on here every day and give you guys tricks, tips, and help you guys excel in your business. So for now, take care. Have a great day. Again, this is Nick with Mammoth Training Solutions. If you need more information, you can call me directly at 208-741-9023 or email me, nick@mammothtrainingsolutions.com, or just jump on my website, mammothtrainingsolutions.com. Hope you all have a good evening. Take care.